As I look at this Uncanny Valley Lucky the Leprechaun figurine, I realize I grew up in the golden age of breakfast cereals. Anyone who says that was the 1950s and 60s is just wrong. It was the 80s and 90s. First, let's talk prices. Here you get a little green piece of shit used to sell cereal with cereal characters. Back in my day, we would get real prices. Okay, you got stuff like this in the 80s too, but you could get real stuff like Spider-Man comics, a working periscope, dinosaurs with the skin snapped off and on, so you could look at the skeleton. Stuff like that was cool. Those with more patience could order some pretty amazing things. Sunglasses with mirrors on the side so you could sort of see behind you. Audio tapes of your favorite band. Or VHS tapes with a couple episodes of your favorite show. My associate producer Matt is such a video game addict that he would get really pissed at me if I didn't mention the greatest breakfast cereal giveaway of all time. The 1996 promotional video game Chex Quest. Yes, it was just a reskin of Doom, but it was fucking awesome. Then you had the cereals themselves, with a zillion different flavors: chocolate, strawberry, blueberry, a mix of fruits and berries, Rocky Road, and the cereal I want to talk about today, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. When I was a kid, Cinnamon Toast Crunch's mascots were these guys. 3 bakers, Bob, K.O., and Wendell. They were around for several years until I was about 10 or 11 years old. Then one day, with no explanation, Bob and K.O. disappeared. Now, years later, I was taking a media law and ethics course. I read a little blurb about how copyright infringement can consist of any attempt to create confusion in the marketplace. The 3 bakers said something like cinnamon, sugar, goodness. It was seen as being too similar to Kellogg's Snap, Crackle, and Pop, in that they were 3 characters, each representing a trait of the cereal. But embodying a product that's the very definition of a mascot, Kellogg's had little to no case. Plus, there's no evidence Kellogg's even filed the suit. Maybe, just maybe, even the threat of a lawsuit was enough for General Mills to phase the bakers out. But if that was enough to do it, you'd think their legal department would advise them not to go ahead with the campaign in the first place. No, I'm gonna tell you what really happened. Here is Wendell as he looked in 1985. And here he is in 1991. Notice a difference? After his brothers disappeared, he got chubbier and cuter. Why did he get so fat? Now you could say eating a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch for each meal of the day for decades will do that to you, but we haven't seen Bob and K.O. in any shape or form in decades. Now, you might think they're in some sort of home for retired cereal mascots. You know, hanging out with Fruit Brute, Fruity Yummy Mummy, Big Mix, Cookie Wizard, Apple and Jack, Captain Sean LaFoot, Sogmaster, the Soggies, Cookie Cop, Cookie Crook, and the original Chip the Dog. I hate to break it to you, but that's not what happened to all of your favorite breakfast buddies. Fruit Brute found a cure for lycanthropy. He opened up a used car dealership outside of Dayton, Ohio. His replacement, Fruity Yummy Mummy, went on to a successful career in several Broadway tour companies, including an award-nominated performance as Jean Valjean in Les Miserables. Sogmaster realized he wasn't cut out for supervillainy. He took off his power suit and became a screenwriter. His works have appeared on such shows as Full House, Perfect Strangers, and Family Matters, along with ghostwriting several Ernest movies. Other cereal mascots weren't so lucky. As you all know, the Soggies continued on without the Sogmaster for several years before their tragic accident. While attending a Friars Club roast of Captain Crunch, they got a little too close to a thirsty Tony the Tiger. Part of their remains helped form Tony's strong bones. The rest of them, well, you get the picture. Big Mix was out in the wasteland outside of Texarkana and was, I'm sad to report, eaten by El Chupacabra. Cookie Wizard was attempting to make a love potion. He mixed the formula wrong and accidentally turned himself into a weird Gary Busey. Captain Jean Lafoot took his ship out into the Bermuda Triangle and was supposedly lost at sea. Of course, both the dark web claims it was sunk by none other than Captain Crunch himself. Others claim it was Cuban drug runners that Lafoot had double-crossed. In the 90s, General Mills decided it could have only one dated Irish stereotype on the payroll. In spite of Cookie Cop being the stereotype that was somewhat positive, he was dropped. Some say Lucky the Leprechaun had a better agent. But the truth is, there were several charges of police brutality on Cookie Cop's jacket. That's why Cookie Crook kept getting out of prison so fast. Speaking of Cookie Crook, with Cookie Cop off the force, he felt emboldened. He was convicted of armed robbery, grand theft auto, abduction, reckless endangerment, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor, while attempting to rob a fleet of Cookie Crisp delivery trucks in Tulsa. The original Chip was a loyal dog to the end. He defended his master. However, he attacked the cops attempting to arrest Cookie Crook. The police were forced to shoot him. What happened to Apple and Jack? I can't say much. Just that it involved Dick'em Frog and Toucan Sam. Oh yeah, and that, in the criminal justice system, yada yada yada, especially heinous, yada yada yada, special victims unit. But what about Bob and Ko? For years, their missing persons case went cold. Then authorities in Connecticut got an anonymous tip about where their bodies could be found. This led them to Wendell's old house. However, Wendell hadn't lived there since 1991. Authorities dug where they were told to dig. They found only Teo and Bob's hats and a copy of a book from the Martian Culinary Arts Academy called To Serve Man. The FBI got involved in the investigation. Wendell remained on the boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch for a brief period after the discovery. However, he did not make any more TV spots. He was soon replaced by the first generation of those creepy piranha pieces. Once they took the samples on the hats to the FBI crime lab, the police had more than enough evidence to arrest Wendell. Unfortunately, somebody leaked this information to Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, who, as most of you know, was Wendell's husband. Sonny reportedly told Wendell the cops were onto him. Knowing the authorities were closing in, Wendell broke into a set filming a Cinnamon Toast Crunch ad and dove into the tank full of piranha pieces. He was quickly devoured. If that weren't ironic enough, the first wave of piranha pieces were eventually eaten by their more cartoonish-looking offspring. If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe. And if you really want to help the channel, visit patreon.com/ParityEraFilms and become a patron. Remember, Parody Era Films is part of This Complete Breakfast.